Hi, everybody, and welcome to Proline. As we get it rolling, the bowl season is here. We're winding down to the last couple of weeks of the NFL regular season. College basketball now in full swing. The exams are done. Conference play about to begin. It's been a fascinating start to the NBA season as well, so lots of good stuff out there. We've got some great offers this weekend and some good games to talk about as well. Hopefully some decent handicapping advice coming your way. Jim Feist is here. John Cranton as well. My name is Dave Koken. We're going to start things off by getting you caught up on what's going on with our offers. And Jim, it continues to go extremely well for you. Numbers 26, 13, and 1 NFL run. That's 67% on 40 plays. Nobody's going to argue with that, that's for sure. Keep it going.
Thank you, Dave. It's been a good season. A couple games the last couple of weeks have been disappointing, but for the most part, you know you're not going to win 70, 80, 90% of your games anyway. So if you can hang in that 60, 65, 67 range, you're pretty happy at the end of the year financially. And it has been that good. I'm off a 7-4-1 football weekend, swept with the Army-Navy side in total. My road warrior with the Chiefs was a winner, 26, 13, and 1, as you said. Now I have a special stocking stuffer special for sports. Sports stocking stuffer. Well, how do you even say that? That's a tongue twister. Sports stocking stuffer. 3 S's. You very slowly, exactly. Yeah, right. And fill it up with cash. Here's the deal. You play through Xmas Day, that's Christmas Day, executive and inner circle plays for $25. Football, basketball, hockey. You get it all. 1-866-841-1655. 1-866-841-1655. That's football, basketball, and hockey. I can count to 3. $25. Fill your basket. Fill your stocking. 1-866-841-1655. Dave?
I'm going to have another Proline only special offer. Now, right now, if you go to the website, you'll see that I have advertised my bowl package for $99, and that I'm including a free week of basketball with that. I'm going to slice that right in half. The bowls get underway this weekend, so there's still time to sign up. And you'll get a bowl play on every single bowl game. A rated play on every single bowl game. That's 35 bowl games. You're going to get a play on every one of them. You're going to get my bowl game of the year, which by itself is going to sell for $99 online. What I'm going to do, in addition to that, is I'm going to include that week of basketball. But unlike the website and elsewhere where it's advertised for $99, $49, half price. I'm knocking 50% right off the top. This is only for those of you watching this video. Nobody else will know about it. $49, you get a bowl selection on every single bowl game. That by itself is a tremendous value. The bowl game of the year is included, plus a week of hoops. And I got to tell you something. College has been back and forth a little bit lately, but the NBA, holy cow. It's one of the best roles I've ever been on in the NBA. I mean, I'm basically not losing any games in the NBA. I lost the last game I lost in the NBA, and I don't play a whole lot of games, so I don't want to make it sound like I'm like 25-0 or something like that. The last game I lost in the NBA was last week, and that was the Pistons against the Nets. They're up 20 in the fourth quarter. They win the game by 4, so they didn't cover 5.5. So I got nudged out there. Everything else is coming in like clockwork in the NBA. Get in on this package for $49. It's worth way more than that, especially the way I'm going right now. The number to call, 1-866-896-1629. That's 1-866-896-1629. John, what does Mr. Vegas have going this weekend?
Well, Mr. Vegas has his NFL Game of the Year going on Sunday. It's $100 online at jimfeist.com. However, there's a Proline special. For $19, you get that big play, the NFL Game of the Year. You get all of the Saturday bowls that are available and an NBA high roller play, a wise guy play going tonight. All this for $19 from Mr. Vegas, 1-866-896-1627.
Well, we got our Twitter question of the week before we get into some other stuff. And it's a good question. It comes from Bill Cole in Naples, Florida, where he doesn't have to worry about the weather he's describing. By the way, you can follow us on Twitter at Jim Feist Sports or friend us on Facebook at Proline TV, and that's where we get the questions from. And Bill's question is, Cold weather used to affect NFL games under the total in December. Then he starts listing the games. Lions and Eagles, 34-20 in a blizzard. Dolphins, Steelers, 34-28 in the snow. Vikings, Ravens, 29-26. Bears, Browns, 38-31. What the hell is going on this year? Asks Bill. This past Sunday was the most points scored in one NFL day in history, Jim, in December. Go figure.
Well, this isn't our NFL, Dave. We're both, we've both seen many moons pass over, and this is a different league. It kind of reminds me a lot of the old, what was it, the USFL or the AFL?
Yeah.
Daryl LaMonica, the bombs away stuff. It's more like that. It's like a video game now. And look at these wide receivers. You got some guys out there that's 6'6", 6'7", 6'5".
Unbelievable.
They're big, they're fast, they're strong, they're extremely athletic. The body fat on these guys is almost nothing. They're strong as bulls. Quarterbacks are big. They throw the ball all over the place. And the defensive players, the thing is, years ago, the opportunities were there to take advantage of bad weather and score easily. I think the offensive coordinators didn't understand that they could do it. And today, all they do is they say, run it, fly, whatever you make the break, we'll get the ball there. The defense has no idea where they're going. Tackling is terrible. If you go back to the union rules, collective bargaining, where they don't even practice, they never practice tackling. So it's inferior this year. So when a guy gets open field, you miss tackles. The guy's a 3-yard pass ends up a 70-yard touchdown. The game has changed. The totals are flying over every week. The odds makers are at fault here. They have to realize the game has changed and they need to change the numbers they're putting up on these games because it's a joke. Now, we're taking advantage of that and we're winning money. But if you're looking for a reason, there it is. The odds makers are making mistakes because they're not realizing the game has changed. The defenses are inferior. The offensive has all the advantages on the rules. And the weather is actually making it easier to score, the bad weather. Now, if you had really high wind, that probably would change things quite a bit because you wouldn't be able to throw the ball as accurately. So I think wind is probably the biggest condition. Ice, of course, if that happens, slippery fields, but they have special shoes now for that. So I'm not so sure that weather should be considered an underplay anymore.
No, it never,
and
it
unless
never really
the odds. In the old days it was.
Well, but from the standpoint of, but I never thought it was snow or rain. You just hit it. It wasn't snow or rain that impacted these games. It was wind. It's always been wind. Snow and rain. To me, the offense always has an advantage. They know where they're going. The defense doesn't. If you can go out, if you're living someplace where there's snow on the ground right now, you try it with your wife. Have her play defense, and you go on offense, and you make a move on her.
Dave,
she's not going to get you.
I have no chance against my wife. No, she's in much better shape. I have no chance. Zero.
I think you hit.
But you're right.
All the keys.
I was going to say, you're right. The thing is, when you have the wide open offenses, the shotguns, the spread offenses, in the old days, there was probably a 60 or 70% of the plays were running plays.
Right.
Now they're not. So it is changed.
Right.
It's changed a lot.
What I'm saying is, if they played the style of football now, if they played this style 20 years ago, we'd have been having the same discussion then about what the hell's going on with the game. Because you hit it. The athletes, the athletes on offense are unbelievable. Look, Raymond Berry is one of the best wide receivers of all time. Couldn't get on the field today. Sorry, he just couldn't get on the field. You take a look at Des Bryant. Des Bryant, guy's incredible. Now he might be a goofball, but he's what 6'5". He's like 230, 240. He catches everything that's thrown to him. I mean, this guy's hands are unbelievable. And by the way, add in what is horrible technique on defense. It's not tackle football anymore. It's collision football. Nobody tackles. Everybody looks for the big hit. When you said at the top, it's like a video game. That is exactly right. It is like a video game, and everybody wants to make the video game spectacular hit rather than just wrap it up, guys. Although I guess it's not easy to wrap them up when they're 6'5" and 250 and they can just break away from you anyway. You got to knock them off their feet. It's tough. I wouldn't want to be a defensive coordinator right now. It's a tough job. All right.
Dave, one thing I was watching the Miami game last week against New England. It was really interesting because Brady was hitting his receivers, but his receivers are 5'11", 5'9", and the defensive players for Miami, a little bit bigger, very athletic, were knocking the balls out of their hands. Gronkowski, who's 6'6", he's a monster, probably would have caught several of those passes. The huge difference when you have guys like Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey and these big wide receivers from these quarterbacks that can throw the ball 60, 70 yards, on the button. I mean, it's a huge difference. These players are bigger, stronger, faster. And the question coming to this week on Twitter, I think you put all those factors together and you have your answer.
Yep. And, it's a good question. And hopefully we got you a little good information there. All right. Let's check in with our man on the street, Jeff Sott from LVSS. Jeff, once again with a free National Football League total. What do you got this week, Jeff?
Thanks, guys. Got a free pick coming up in the NFL, but first get 7 days of action from LVSS for just $7. That will include the opening of the Bowls this weekend, my December NBA Game of the Month Friday, and my AFC Game of the Year going Sunday. 7 days to $7 with LVSS. Call 1-866-575-8916. Free play comes to the NFL on Sunday as the Raiders and Chargers meet in San Diego. Can't see the Raiders defense showing up in this one, the last road game of a lost season. The last two road games, they've allowed 37 and 31 points to the Cowboys and Jets, plus Oakland is on a 5-1-1 run over the total and 5-2 over the total on the road. San Diego is fourth in the NFL in passing, 14th in rushing under new coach Mike McCoy, and comes off that euphoric win at Denver. In 3 of the last 4 games, the offense has scored 41, 37, and 27 points. Take the Raiders and Chargers to go over the total. Once again, get 7 days of action from LVSS for $7. That will include the opening of the Bowls this weekend, my December NBA Game of the Month Friday, and my AFC Game of the Year going Sunday. 7 days at $7 at LVSS. Call 1-866-575-8916.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Have a great weekend. Time to look at an NFL game. We're going to go to the Bears and Eagles matchup. A very big game. The Bears got some help from the Lions on Monday night. The Bears now find themselves in first place in that division. Green Bay very much in it as well because they rallied in spectacular fashion against Dallas. The Lions are now the team that needs help in that division. The Eagles, meanwhile, I have to confess, I got caught up in it. I thought the Eagles were in trouble were in great shape last week against the Vikings. The Vikings, no Peterson, no Gerhardt. They're a bad football team, and I jumped in on that game. I got good value. Man, but beat the number by like 2 points. Never in it. Never in that. Just wow. That NFC East is completely untrustworthy, and that's where I'll start talking about this game. I like the Bears, and if for no other reason, the NFC East sucks. Okay, they can't beat anybody outside their division. All year long, it's the same thing over and over again. These teams have great names, and great traditions. Cowboys. Well, the Cowboys haven't won anything actually in a long time. The Giants have, though, and the Eagles have had some good teams, but they're regular playoff participants until the end with Andy Reid. But if you look at this season, these teams get out of their division. They're bad football teams, and I think the Bears they were criticized in a lot of circles for putting Cutler back in the starting lineup instead of McCown. You got to think that the people there know their talent better than we do, and the players 100% behind the move. Even McCown, even if he didn't believe it, McCown sure sounded like he believed it. And besides which, McCown I think is heading for free agency, so he's in pretty good shape as far as his future is concerned. The Bears, nice win. It was a high-scoring game. They gave up a lot of points. They'll probably give up their share of points this weekend. But we saw once again the NFC East gets out of the division they can't play. The Eagles couldn't stop anything. And that was a Vikings team, again, down to its third and fourth string running backs with a below-average quarterback in Christian Ponder. And they put up, 90? Or it seemed like 90 points. Every time they touched the ball, they were in the end zone. I can't bet on these NFC teams.
It was actually Matt Castle last week.
Excuse me, Matt Castle. Well, he's still a below-average quarterback. Excuse me. Yeah, that's right. I got him mixed up there. Castle has been the best, excuse me, of the three this year, but he's still, at best. No, he's not NFL average. He's just not. Okay. That's it. I don't have to analyze anything else on this. The Bears are a better football team than the Eagles, and I think they're going to go in and win the football game.
I understand what you're saying, Dave, and I'm not supporting Philadelphia in any way, shape, or form here. And they're open to 4-point favorite. They're down to 3, and actually some spots they're 2.5. It's hard to support Philadelphia. Their home record over the years, the last several years, have been absolutely horrendous. They did beat Arizona a couple weeks ago. They did not cover the spread. The Bears, unfortunately, are coming off of a road win at Cleveland, which was, they won the game easily, and after Cutler got in the groove, he made a couple mistakes early, et cetera, but he's of course the better quarterback between him and McNown. That was a financial decision why they had to start him. You don't bench McNown. He's the highest quarterback rating in the league, but they had to, because they have to negotiate with one or the other or both at the end of the season. If you're going to pay this guy $100 million, you better put him on the field and see if he can play. So they did that. He did play well, and he'll probably play well again here. But he has been a turnover machine at times where McNown was not. And now you get this new coach. You got the new quarterback here in Philadelphia. They've been blowing things away. Foles had a lot of passing yards last week. He threw the ball very well. He got the ball downfield. They moved the ball everywhere, but their defense did not show up at all, which was incredible. In perfect conditions, they'd only been averaging giving up 16 points a game, and they gave up 48, which is only 3 times as much as their average for the previous 3 games. So I agree with you that the Bears are probably the right side. In my mind, when you look at their team, they're the better team. However, you have a Philadelphia team here who is an exceptionally good running team. They run the ball extremely well, and the Bears are horrible. 32nd in the league against the run. Philadelphia's strength, running. Bears' weakness, defending the run. They should be able to take advantage of that. Chip Kelly's a pretty smart coach. I think Trestman's a pretty smart coach. I like Trestman a lot. I've followed him over the years. I like him a lot. Interesting game to handicap. Very difficult situation here. They both have huge games next week. Philadelphia has to play Dallas, and the Bears have to host Green Bay. Now, this is a 1-2 battle in their divisions. And the other side of it is, these guys, if they don't win their divisions, they're not going to the playoffs. Their records are just not good enough to get a wild card. So they're either going to win their division or they're out. So these games are crucial. And talking about, this is money time. These guys are playing, this is big money time for these teams. I don't know who the hell's going to stand up. But that weakness on defense the Bears have against the run really bothers me.
Well, speaking of money time, this is actually a battle of money burners. I mean, the Bears have covered the last 2 games, but they're still on a 6-15-1 spread run. And the Eagles at home, Dave, as you mentioned, 5-20-1 against the spread. I like Trestman too, Jim, and he's a very good coach who walked into a very good situation. An offensive mind. It's one of the best offenses in the league. He's got great pieces to work with. I mean, a quarterback can't help but succeed with weapons like Mac 40, 1,200 yards rushing, 2 tall receivers in Ashland Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall. He's gotten the most out of Cade McCown, 13 touchdowns, 1 pick, and now the potential star quarterback Cutler is back. Defense has struggled. When they win a game, they're 17-4 over the total the next game, and that's what happened last week too. And here's an Eagles team that's just so good on offense, unstoppable running, and even their passing game is 10th in the NFL. the thing to keep in mind about the Eagles defense, they went 9 consecutive games giving up 16.5 points. Now, what they were doing was they went soft coverage. They played back. They were hoping for some pressure from the defensive line. They basically were trying to prevent big plays. It's a bend but don't break kind of defense. And it worked for 9 straight games. Well, the 10th game was last week when the Vikings just carved them up. So the question is, was that an aberration, or are they going to get back to playing or succeeding the way they did over these 9 games? So when I look at a matchup point of view, Bears can't stop the run. Eagles are number 1 in the NFL in rushing. It's kind of a shaky weather game here in Philly, and Eagles have home field. So, Dave, I'm going to back the home team in this one with all those variables.
All right, before we get to our second game, I want to tell you how to get the free plays on a daily basis. Mine have been a little 50-50 lately, but I think that's kind of to be expected, considering they're up over 100 games since we started doing this in March of 2012. That's an enormous profit. And they're free plays. All you need to do is send a text to Kokin, C-O-K-I-N, at 313131. And you'll get back the free play for the day on your cell phone. Nothing could be easier. And if you've just played nothing else but those over the last nearly 2 years, you've accrued tremendous profits. So, keep playing them. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure and start doing so. Text Kokin to 313131. Jim, same thing with you. Free play every day, and nothing could be simpler.
Absolutely. Just text WINNER, W-I-N-N-E-R, to 313131, and we'll send you a free play right to your cell phone. Can't be easier than that. Text WINNER, W-I-N-N-E-R, to 313131, and get a free play right on your cell phone.
Well, John, let's start with you on this next game. It's one of the real big feature matchups this weekend in the NFL. The Saints taking on the Panthers. We know what happened a couple weeks ago in New Orleans. Saints fall behind 6-0, and then see you later. Boy, they are something else at home. But, boy, they get out of the Superdome, and they're a different story.
Yeah.
Very bad game for New Orleans last week at St. Louis. This is a big game between these two teams. 2 playoff-bound squads. Carolina wants this one pretty badly. Is that in the number? Is there still value in the Panthers, or is this the week that the Saints wake up and say, hey, we're going to show that we really are a Super Bowl contender? Because if they can't win away from home, they're not going to be around long come playoff time.
That's right. There's plenty to prove for both teams. Interesting this week that the Saints made a couple of changes, changing their kicker, and Sean Payton has put a rookie in on the offensive line because he was unhappy. So it just shows you that Payton's not afraid to take chances, even with marquee games like this. I can't ignore the Saints road play. It's been terrible. 0-5 ATS the last 5 road games. This is a game on natural grass. This is a team that's built for that indoors. As they're averaging 33 points per game at home, just 18.4 on the road. They are very good the last few years when they faced a team with a winning record, 21-10 ATS. But boy, this Panthers defense, you got to be impressed with them. They are just a powerhouse, hard-hitting defense. You can't run on them or pass. They're 5th against the pass, 2nd against the run, and they're 2nd best in the NFL, giving up just 14.6 points per game. Remember, at home, Carolina lost that opener to Seattle, 12-7. Well, they haven't lost since. 6 straight wins, 5-0-1 against the spread. And I look back at last year, the Panthers had a bad start last year, 1 win and 6 loss. That lone victory was right at home against the Saints. They beat them 35-27. They rolled up 463 yards, over 200 rushing. So I'm going to back the home team, Jim, and the one with the better defense.
There's another difficult game, and it's a very important game. Both these teams are fighting for the division win. I mean, there's some really interesting games this weekend. And I don't believe the loser will miss out on the playoffs as a wild card. But when you consider San Francisco and Arizona are also battling with about similar records, Arizona has a tough one, though. They got to beat Seattle and San Francisco in the last 2 weeks, and that's a hell of a parlay to try to pull off at the end of the year. But the loser here will probably be a wild card. But that's not what they're fighting for. They're fighting for the division. Huge revenge for the Panthers. When you think of Cam Newton, you think he's a big passing quarterback, big arm, when he has that. But this team is 28th in passing in the league. 28th. They are not a passing team. They're a running team. They're 8th in the league in running, and they play great defense. They're 5th in against the pass, 2nd against the run. This is a very strong defense with a strong running game. You know, that's an old school type of team now. Run the ball and play good defense. You don't see too much of that in the NFL anymore. The Saints they really embarrassed themselves last week. They did not step up. If it was a tennis game, you would have to say they did not hold serve. And they were on the road, but they were indoors playing in very similar conditions that they play at home in the Superdome. I was rather taken back by that loss, how badly they looked in that game. The Panthers are in good shape here. You know, I saw a tweet the other day that unders are extinct in the NFL. Extinct. Well, they almost are. It's 2-1 against them the last couple of weeks. And in this game, you look at the total, it opened 45.5, went up to 46.5. And when you look at this defensive situation and the way the Saints don't put up points on the road, I'm not too sure with the pressure on these clubs that this may actually stay under the number.
You know, I don't know why the line's not 3.5, which bothers me a little bit. I would have made this line. I actually would have made a line 4 on the game. They're going to get pounded with Carolina sharp money. They already are.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm not going to say it's an odds maker's error. Yeah, I think I will say it's an odds maker's error because it's not so much the result as where you put the line in terms of determining where the money comes in. I think they put it at a position where they're going to get hit with public and sharp money. You don't want that. You want to get it. You're not going to get a division all the time, but you want to try and get the two camps on opposite sides if you can for a little balance. It's just easier to maintain the books that way. I don't think they will in this game. I think they're going to get Panthers money, and I'm not going to disagree with it. This team is playing really good football. They had the bad game at New Orleans. And you can find some fault with the Panthers. They're not the best team in the league at finishing off drives and have to set up field goals, probably a little too often. But the Saints are just a team that just does not play well on the road. I don't know why. I know the home field's tremendous. At some point, though, you've got to step up and be able to show that you can do it away from home. They're going to have to prove it to me, and I don't think they will. I think Carolina's going to win the football game. And with the number 3, I don't think I mind laying it. If it was 4, it might be a different story because I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Rams will play, or the Saints will play better than they did against the Rams. But at 3, if Carolina wins the game, they're probably going to get the money, or at least push the money if it's close. I think that's an edge for the Panthers, and I'll go that way. All right, let's get some best bets and recap the offers for this weekend. John, let's start with you. And once again, the biggest game of the year in the National Football League for Mr. Vegas.
That's right. Yeah, my best bet is going to be the run-oriented Eagles at home against the worst run defense in the NFL. Mr. Vegas has his NFL Game of the Year going on Sunday. It's $100 online at jimfights.com, but you can get it for $19 with the weekend bowl games and an NBA high roller tonight. 1-866-896-1627.
I'll use the second game we talked about, which is the Panthers, Carolina minus the 3 as the best bet. And your best bet, and it really probably is the best bet all season as far as the promotional offers we have here on Proline are concerned. It's my bowl package at a price you cannot get anyplace else. $49. You get a play on every single bowl game, a rated play on every single bowl game, plus my bowl game of the year, a $99 sell on its own once it comes up. That's included. Plus, you get a week of basketball, and it's been really good. The NBA lately, the college has been okay. The NBA's been great. You're going to get all that for $49. Just mention that you saw it on Proline, because otherwise they're not going to give it to you for $49. They're going to say no, it's $99, and that's the price. So mention that you saw it on Proline. That will get you the 50% off. $49 for everything. 1-866-896-1629. There's Zeus. You can hear him in the background now. Zeus is trying to call to take advantage of the offer. That's Jim's dog. 1-866-896-1629.
And he's ready to pick his dog of the week, which is up online right now. So, Dave, I'm going to, first of all, my best bet is going to be over the total in the Chicago Eagles game. I see very little defense in this game. I think Chicago's going to break down with a lot of points on the outside with that big running game and Matt Forte. I think the Eagles are going to run the ball all over the field on this Bear defense. You're going to see a lot of points in the game. It's going to fly over the total. And I have a special sports stocking stuffer play through Christmas Day, executive and inner circle plays for $25. That's right, $25. You will stuff your stocking with that, and you just call 1-866-841-1655. 1-866-841-1655. And I have a note for you that will come out a little bit later. Buffalo is sitting down E.J. Manuel, and Lewis is going to start due to injury.
Oh, okay. That's
for
just
the Buffalo Bills.
See that? We stay on top of things even while we're taping the show. All right, more to come
That's right.
on the College Bowl edition of Proline. So, you just watched the NFL version. That doesn't mean we're done. Make sure to check out the Bowl edition as well. For Jim Feist and John Creighton and Jeff Side from LVSS, I'm Dave Koken. Thank you for watching. Have yourself a great Christmas if we don't see you before then, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.